I've always had a problem with remembering things. I plan to record a video today related to how to get into the industry, that being cybersecurity. I done quite a bit of planning for it and figured out what I wanted to say, how best I could say it. And I don't know, I hit a bit of a wall. I'm a bit of a loose head. Even in my time in the military, most military men wouldn't admit this, and probably none of them have done this, but I've misplaced my weapon, I think twice on my first tour. I think instead of talking about getting into the industry, maybe I can riff a bit, and maybe it's better I talk about the struggle I'm having today, or the challenge I'm having today. Okay, right, so it is 9:15 on Wednesday evening, the 23rd of July. I plan to record a video today related to how to get into the industry, that being cybersecurity. I done quite a bit of planning for it and figured out what I wanted to say, how best I could say it. And I don't know, I hit a bit of a wall. My wife's in bed at the moment. She can probably hear me, which is a bit awkward for me. She's not within earshot. And maybe I perhaps still talk about this, but I'm unsure. I feel unsure of myself. It feels very uncomfortable to me. I haven't really got the setup I want. I think the setup I have for 6 videos in is not bad at all. I must say that my biggest problem right now is my audio. I think my audio is not great, and I'm trying to do everything I can in post-production as far as isolating my voice and as far as normalizing loudness. But it's still not quite where I want it to be. It does look like I might be able to buy a microphone soon if the stars align, and then I can do videos I feel more proud of. But I think instead of talking about getting into the industry, maybe I can riff a bit, and maybe it's better I talk about the struggle I'm having today, or the challenge I'm having today. So I've always had a problem with remembering things. I'm a bit of a loose head. As a kid, it was problematic, especially if I was reading the map. That's before Google Maps, and I had to give directions. I often forget to tell someone to take a turn off because I was observing the geese on the road or another car driving past, and I was completely oblivious to it. And even in my time in the military, most military men wouldn't admit this, and probably none of them have done this, but I've misplaced my weapon, I think twice on my first tour. The one time, thank goodness, I borrowed someone's pistol to go to the bathroom, and when I got back, something in me told me, Charlie, tell the person, we'll call him Sean, tell him that you're back, show him his pistol and put it down next to him, because I had a machine gun at the time, so it was a bit of a mission to walk with that to the bathroom, and that pistol actually ended up going missing, and thank goodness, once again, Sean, we were talking about, remembered and acknowledged and mentioned. He's like, no, Charlie came back, he showed me the pistol, he put it down there, and then it went missing from there. Another time, I remember going to do something and then going to sit with a friend of mine, Christian, and we listened to some music on my iPod, and at some point I saw my sergeant walk up, and he said to me, Roth, have you forgotten something? And I was like, not that I can recall, Sergeant. And he pulled out my LMG from behind his back, and yeah, it's fair to say I got in quite a bit of trouble for that. But after the military, it's always been a problem for me. And my daughter had gone through her own assessments and challenges. So based on the feedback I got from my daughter from some specialists she went to see, and they were talking about neurodiversity and ADHD and autism, I listened to everything they said and I thought to myself, I was like, gosh, this sounds a lot like me, in some ways. And what I then decided to do is go on a journey of discovery. Asked some friends of mine that I knew were diagnosed neurodiverse, and I asked them, and I said, look, as a 30-something-year-old, late 30-something-year-old, when did you get diagnosed? And they told me when, and some of them had been in the last 2, 3, 4 years. And I asked them, I said, was there any value in you being diagnosed as an adult? And most of them said, yeah, it was life-changing. It was great to put a label to the thing and then actually get some direct help for it, whether there was medication or whatnot. And that helped me decide to seek help. So I had seen a therapist many years before. I spoke to her, and she referred me to a psychologist who I went to meet, and she did an assessment with me, and I had to fill in a bunch of forms and paperwork. And I met the psychologist virtually online, and we went through everything, and she asked me about myself and my past and whatnot. And we quickly established there were certain things in my life that had created habits in me in my adult life. There were certain things in my past that triggered or made me who I am today, some of the quirks. But it was quite definitive that I was diagnosed with ADHD. I had some traits of autism spectrum disorder, or ASD, but I was definitely on the spectrum, and I have ADHD. And I must say, it was quite an enriching experience. I've continued with that same psychologist now, working through various things, and something happened over the weekend that made me realize the immense value that my therapy has done. From there, the psychologist referred me to a psychiatrist, super nice guy. We did like a 1-hour video call, and he went through my stuff, went through the report from my psychologist, and he got me some medication. But what that all got to do with today, or this evening. And I'd done planning to do this video tonight, once again, about sort of getting into cybersecurity. And I do think that is still a video I'm going to do very soon, and probably do again in the future, and just keep improving on it, making it better. But I helped some friends with some stuff related to BSides Cape Town now, and by the end of it wasn't much. I completely lost my motivation to set up my phone here on this little, set up the selfie light, and try and get the lighting right. In the same breath, looking at how my YouTube's done so far, which is actually done fairly okay. Obviously, I'd love my long form content to do better, but I'm just getting started. But I have just achieved a big goal I set myself, and something I've discussed before that I'd set off for so many years, which was to do YouTube. And the one day I decided to rip the band-aid off on the way to pick up my daughter in the car. Not a great place to record if you don't have a good microphone, and also don't use a selfie camera on an iPhone 12. I ripped the band-aid off, I recorded it, I figured out the editing, I did a half-decent job, but I achieved the goal. Just get a video out there, no bullshit, no messing around, but I need a camera, I need a microphone. I just did it. And from there, during the video, I set my next goal, which was to make 5 videos, and now I've done that. My last video I uploaded was all about job offers, assessing the short, medium, and the long term. And I've doubted myself heavily in the videos I've made. I like to make content. I like to have the same flow as some of the creators that I follow, but I'm not there yet. I haven't done this as long as many of them have. Some of them have been doing this for 5, some of them have been doing it for 20 years. And I'm not going to have the flow like they have. I'm not going to be able to write a script, read a script, memorize a script, and then just regurgitate out to you in a way that you watch and you go, damn, this is good. I wish I could do it this way. But I need to hold it dear to me, deep in my heart, that I set a goal and I achieved it. Now, achieving a goal can be problematic to some extent. I think it was Jim Carrey that said something along the lines of, I hope that everyone manages to achieve their dreams and realize how unhappy they are afterwards. And it's something that's been common for me, setting a goal, achieving it, and then being somewhat lost afterwards. In the military, I decided to become a paratrooper in the British Airborne. I went over the UK specifically to join the army. And to be a paratrooper in the British Army, you have to pass something called P Company or Pegasus Company. So it's a 1 week pre-selection, sort of in the middle, sort of the end of training, week 20, week 21, around there, of 28. And it's a test of your mental strength, because it's tough, your physical preparedness, and your confidence at height in taking orders. Anyway, there's a whole bunch of stuff that we can get into someday. I actually have the footage from my P Company, which may be something I can feature some point. And I was quite overweight as a kid, and I struggled in school with people, especially. And I got it into my head, and I became headstrong, deeply, solely focused on losing this weight. I lost this weight. I lied in my army application about my weight, but I was on such a hardcore health, weight loss, fitness journey that I managed to lose all the weight and more. I lost about 35 kilograms in, 8 months. I was so headstrong, and it was almost easy, almost too easy. And I got into the paras, and I joined basic training in ITC Catterick, 708 Tamara, and I went through it. And at some point they sent out an invite to your parents about your passing out parade, and it basically tells them we're in a happy company, what's sort of in store for us still, and when our passing out parade will be. Now, most people aren't going to give that any attention or book anything before their son passes P Company. My parents decided to tempt fate, and they booked plane tickets from South Africa to come over to Yorkshire, along with my sister, for my passing out parade. And I remember losing it with my parents, saying, guys, you can't book this already, I haven't passed yet. And I think my dad just had confidence in me, and it was also a big motivation. But I think what I'm trying to get here, ADHD is kicking in here with my side quest, is I remember passing P Company, feeling exhilaratingly happy. And then on reflection, I look back and I go, I had achieved this big goal. I had summited the mountain, and I didn't put anything else next. Yeah, sure, I wanted to go on an operational tour. I wanted to go to Afghanistan, like I'd seen Three Para before on the BBC. Yes, I did watch Three Para in 2006 on the BBC. But then I set a new goal, and after a couple of years in battalion, I'll be honest, my fitness started slipping as well. I was always good and comfortable with sort of tabbing, which is, boots and a weapon and, 37 pounds on your back. Like that I was always good at, but running I was always shockingly bad at. And I think because I achieved this big fitness goal and it was done, I achieved this big goal and I didn't see anything else after it, and my fitness slipped. And I left the army in 2012. It's 2015. I was 13 years. Gosh, I don't know if I could run a 3K, 2K. I probably can't. And it's something I want to work on. But once again, what I'm trying to get to is, I think mentally I achieved this goal of making 5 videos. I merely set a new goal, which is to make 20 videos total, long form. The shorts don't count. And I think that was maybe standing my way tonight. It was the loss of focus in having the side quest with my friends at BSides Cape Town. I think it was the fact that I've been very critical about what I've done so far as YouTube goes and the videos I've made. And then, this new goal. It's a massive mountain. Creating 5 videos was hard. Balancing life and a struggling business and everything else. Family, and we have a lot of stuff going on personally. To do the script, do the notes, I'm talking like Trump notes, and just sit down and record it. And I got my little light set up, I got everything perfectly set up, and then I couldn't do it. I couldn't move myself to hit record. And at some point I said, I wish I had it on record. I said, F this. And I moved the selfie cam light from where it is now here to here. I pick it up and I put it down, and I was about to pick up my phone, and just this angel or devil in my head said, stop being a wuss, hit record, and maybe forget about this video when I do about getting into cybersecurity and talk about what you're struggling with now, because there's probably a lot of people out there that struggle with it. And maybe go into a bit more detail about that. Like it's tough, man. I've had moments where my wife will ask me to go buy milk at Spar, and I'll say sure, and I'm like hectic, busy working, and then I get up, put my shoes on, I get in the car, drive to Spar. I'm like, while I'm here to buy milk, let me get a few other things. I get some dog food, I get some bread, cereal, whatever, and then I go to pay. When I go to pay, I'm like, oh man, I forgot my wallet. Thankfully nowadays I have my debit card on my phone with Apple Pay, but I then go back, I get my wallet, I go back to the shop, I get all those things, I get to the cashier, I pay, I get home, I realize I forgot the milk. Then I get really frustrated. I jump in the car, I go to start the car, and I realize I forgot the keys for the car. I go back in the house, I get the car keys, come out, and I'm like, I forgot the keys to open the gate, and then I just give up. And it often gets in the way. It means I have to plan things a lot better. And even with that, even knowing that, I sometimes plan very badly. And yeah, it's not that tough for me to reflect. It's frustrating to be the way I am. I do have medication now. I take 36 milligram Concerta. I take another thing because I've got a bit of a fight or flight thing going on. And then I take 10 milligram quick acting Ritalin. And I'm using it for the first time as an adult. And I frowned upon Ritalin when I was in my younger years. It does also make me think, to some extent, how useful it would have been to know this when I was a kid, to be aware of it, and counseling to understand what's going on with me. But that wasn't viable when I was a kid. Like my mom said the other day, there were some issues with me in primary school, and they had got some scholastic assessor in the school, and she had an assessment with me, and she'd got my parents in, or my mom, my dad was working away, I think, and this person basically told my parents that I have Tourette's, And my mom said, oh man, they just said that because that was all the rage back then. Yeah. And I think it's always made it hard to make friends. And I think the older I've got, it's been harder for me to mask. I didn't know I was masking, but it's been harder for me to pretend not to be someone who I'm not. But I always find myself being someone, talking a certain way, using certain words with certain people. It's very rare that I will be my 100% true, authentic self with someone. Now, does that make me a fraud? No. Does it make me a people pleaser? Yes, and that's something I'm working on. But I've got to a point in my life where if someone doesn't like me, that's mostly their problem. I lived my whole life thinking that everyone should like me because I'm a fun person, I'm an easygoing person, and I've come to the realization that I am not. I'm a complicated person. I'm a human like everybody else. I've got a lot to learn. The thing I've also learned as an adult, which I didn't know as a kid, was the best way to make a friend is not just talk about what you're interested in, is to ask someone what they're interested in. A lot of my friends will know that when I message them often, I get straight into it. I'll get straight into the thing that made me message them, ask them a question, get their advice on something, and then 3-4 lines later I'll go, oh, geez, sorry, how are you? How's the family? How's the missus? How's the hubby? How are the kids? And that's bad. I'm very bad at keeping in touch with people. I think people call that, I think Jason in Street told me about that. And when he was here for BSides Cape Town, we went for lunch one day and I took him up Lion's Head. He wanted a paraglide. And he said it's called object permanence. If it's not in front of me, I don't think about it. And it means that I'm a bad communicator sometimes with my family and with my friends. There's some of my best friends I hadn't spoken to in God knows how long. I've rambled a bit here, but yeah, I wanted to record this video and I didn't, and I think that's okay. I think we all have good days and bad days. I had a very productive day, but maybe I burned through all of my good juices today. Maybe when my 10 milligram Ritalin wore off, I kind of fell off a cliff, which does happen. I literally ended up on the grass with my dogs. I might add it afterwards here, but it's a bit weird and silly. Sometimes you just gotta enjoy the outdoors with your dogs, touch some grass. So get out there, forget about your CV, forget about your offer, forget about that interview. And all this cold, get out there, touch some grass. The good stuff. I felt like making a video, and I'm not going to, I always want to be genuine and authentic, and I'm not just going to force this. And yeah, looking back at my videos, am I proud of them? Some of them, yes. I like my red flags video. I watched some of the shorts from my riffing on resumes video, and there's some really useful content there. I'm unsure about my intros. I think maybe they're a bit not over edited. It's a bit theatrical, I think, and a lot of people I like don't do it. But maybe that's my own flavor. I know if I really liked a certain creator, I would watch that and almost expect it, kind of like Outdoor Boys. But if you're new, you're gonna go, oh geez, what's this intro? Bear in mind, it's like 15 seconds, 20 seconds long. And I thought, should I remove it? Should I not? I'm like, you know what? Let it stay out there and make maybe a better one in the future. I also realized I had edited my last video about job offers very quickly, and I very late realized I had grammatical error. And I'll be honest, I didn't want to delete the video I just posted to upload the same video, fix the grammatical errors, because evidently between short term, medium term, and long term, there needs to be like a little dash. And it frustrates me, but you know what? I'm gonna leave it there. And I also realized there's 3 sections in that video. The last section didn't have the transition of the previous 2. There was like a change scene thing. But I'm going to keep at it, and maybe this is the video that I make today. I hope the audio works. I had audio bugs in the previous video, that's why there's all the cuts. I'm going to keep at it. I'm going to keep making the videos I want to make. So yeah, this has nothing to do with cybersecurity or careers. Maybe it does. You know, there's a lot of people out there with ADHD and struggling with their daily things. Maybe I need a break, but I don't have the luxury of that now. But yeah, I think this is now once again the irony of, the irony of therapy is that I almost didn't do anything. I decided, F this, I'm going to do something. I did it. I'm almost done now. And now I feel better. It's like a problem defined as a problem half solved. So yeah, maybe I edit this quickly and post it tomorrow. Who knows? I've got a lot of personal things going on coming in the next few days. I've got some not fun stuff to do on Friday, and then I'll fly to Joburg for BSides Joburg. Really excited. I might actually make a video about that. Wish I had my microphone before then, but I don't. If anyone has a spare DJI microphone they want to give me, I'll mention you in the next 20 videos I make. DJI, if you hear me, I've got 68 subscribers, so do send me a DJI microphone or Rode, whatever. I'm gonna have to figure out how to use that. But yeah, I feel better. And I think making this, my 6th video, is actually kind of cool and poignant. I've got so many ideas and things I want to work through. I realize I need to create more of a system. You know, video ideas and things need to flow like from one video to the next. As I saw another creator, he said, if you just sit there on a Monday and go, what video am I going to make today? It's not scalable. It doesn't work in the long term. And yeah, it's obviously not the best video to pitch something. It's not really a pitch, but I did one-on-one coaching at one point. So it was career coaching, sort of career planning, resume fixes, you know, solving complex problems. You know, candidates were struggling with interviews and they needed some advice. So I used to do that on like a charge basis. So you could book on my calendar with, and you pay like $50 or $100 or whatever it is. I'm looking to do that again. I'm probably not going to push it. I'll put it in my description. If that's something you're interested in, let me know. I help a lot of people for absolutely nothing. It does consume time, but I think it would be pretty cool if someone needed specific and they could book an hour or 2 with me, paid, because I'd love to see what the value proposition is and if that's of value to people. But most people I know, they can just message me, and if I'm not doing anything and I haven't got any calls, I'll get on a call with them. But yeah, I think that's it. I feel better now. I'm going to finish up some work. It's 9:45 now. Maybe I'll quickly edit this, drop it, and then finish up some work and then get to bed. But yeah, thanks for coming. Please do like and subscribe. Maybe don't interact with this video because it's going to throw the algorithm off. But yeah, enjoy. Oh, and the last thing, I'm going to post my videos on LinkedIn now. I've got 16,000 subscribers or 16,000 followers there, and most of the research I've done has said to me, don't share your stuff out because it's going to mess up the algorithm. I do, however, think when it comes to careers and cybersecurity and resumes, like my network on LinkedIn is perfect for that, as well as hacksouth. So I'm gonna share it there. Maybe it'll take me a bit longer to grow, but at least I get it to the right people. It's really been valuable in that someone comes to me needing help. I don't have time to help them at the moment, and I can share it with them. They can have a look at it, and if they still have questions after that, it takes an hour 30 call. It makes it into a 10-minute call. So yeah, if you find this, I don't know how, but if you find this helpful, let me know. If you have any video ideas or anything you want me to cover, I'm going to make this getting into the industry, the cybersecurity industry without any certifications video. I'm going to make it. But if you have any other ideas, let me know. And then I just need to get over the mental hurdle and set up a live stream. Maybe next week. Next week seems less busy. But alright, that's all from me. I'm Charles Roth. Have a good evening. Bye. Test. I think it's too bright. Let's see, this is on bottom mono. Let's see if this works. I don't know if it's gonna work, but we'll see. This is on camera mono, so let's see if this potentially works. Hopefully this doesn't mess up audio. I'm just gonna do this with my headset on, because that's the way I actually feel comfortable. I should take these off. It's not being intent. Let me move this here, move this here, and then there. How do I 50%, 25% scale to fit? I think that works perfectly.